Hey, so how you guys doing? I was trying to wait a few days before I gave my interpretation of the dreams and visions that I've been having because I wanted to see what you guys, might have to say, or if maybe you guys even wanted to share some of your own dreams that you've been having. I know there's a lot of people on YouTube nowadays posting videos of end time dreams they've been having, and I don't think this is a coincidence. I think something spiritual is going on here. And even people who are not religious, I mean, these guys, they're getting dreams. So I guess we'll just get to it, right? All right. So in the first dream I had, if you guys remember, there was nothing. There was like void. It was like a just nothingness. And from the void came the spirit. And I remember reading in the book of Genesis, it said that in the beginning the earth was void and without form, and that the Spirit of God floated over the waters. And yeah, after I seen after the scene with the void came the Spirit floating my way, and he showed me the earth, and like I said, it looked like all the land was in the middle and all the ocean water was around the land. And then I think to the part in the book of Genesis where the Most High called for all the waters, all the seas to be gathered unto one place, and for all the land to appear and to be gathered unto one place. And that's what I saw. After that, the Spirit took me up to low orbit and showed me the Earth. And I didn't say this in the first video, but now I remember when we were looking down on the Earth, I thought to myself, I said, man, I said, the Earth looked like it's growing, like a baby in the womb. And so I took that as the Earth is going through some growing pains. And looking at the continents today, how they're all ripped up and scattered, I would say that we definitely had some growing pains. Um, the next scene, we were at the school, and I read somewhere that a school is not necessarily a building, but a gathering of people. And we were gathered, and when everybody went running outside, I remember seeing this giant, what looked like a moon on the horizon. And inside of the moon was a huge giant, like this entity, like he looked like a god almost. And you know how he had these, instead of hair, he had like these tentacles going all the way down to the floor, but that he had the body of a man. And I read somewhere that the Most High, the Creator, where He sits, it looks like crystalline, crystals. Like his house is made of a crystal, his palace or whatever he lives in, and this moon sort of looked crystalline, right? And the giant, when he left, he took everybody with him, or everybody that was in my immediate area. We all went up as high as we could go towards the celestial realm. I'm starting to think that this could uh, be symbolic of what some people will call a rapture. I don't believe in the rapture per se, but hey, who knows? We definitely got taken away from here. And in the next scene, I was on top of a hill overlooking what looked like Manhattan, and I take that as I was being shown what was going to happen to those who were left behind. And like I said, I saw what looked like Manhattan. I seen a giant bridge, and when this red light at the top of this giant bridge started flashing, every emergency vehicle, their lights started flashing. So I take that as the people were warned. They were being warned that something was about to happen. But I just don't know how much time they had. Uh, the next scene, we were back at the school. I was back at the school, and there were no stars in the sky. And I remember reading the book of Revelations. It says that in the last days, uh, before the Creator makes his way back to the earth, that the stars will not give their light, the sun neither. And uh, I saw seven orbs floating above us. And the spirit who was with me, who was guiding me, he made sure that I knew that there were 7 stars. And so I did some research, and in the book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 20, it says that the 7 stars are the 7 angels that govern 7 churches. And so I believe I was watching a scene from the book of Revelations, how it might play out. And the next scene I remember seeing, I was in Manhattan, and I seen dead people walking with the living. And I remember in scripture, I can't remember which book, but it said that the wheat would be separated from the tares, that the good and the bad, the sinners and the righteous, would be raised together, and they will be separated in the last days. And so I take, when this comet comes shooting over our heads, when it hit that water, I believe that was symbolic of the second trumpet, if I'm not mistaken, second or the third. And that when the tsunamis came in, and it came in 2 waves. The first wave washed away all the dead, and the second wave washed away all the living. I take that as the wheat being separated from the tares. After the first 2 waves, the third wave came in and took me from that dimension to this dimension. And I guess that was just my ride home. I don't know how else to interpret that one. But the second dream I had, where I was outside in front of my old building in the Bronx, and I go inside to go see my old apartment. And when I get into the apartment, it's not my apartment from the Bronx, it's my apartment from Harlem. And I see my mom standing in the living room, and I take that as what was and what is to come. That's how I interpret that, past and present, right? And every time I was in the house, it was night, it was dark outside. But when I left the building the first time, I noticed that the sun was up, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember reading the book of Revelations, where it say that the sun would stay still and not move for 3 days or something to that effect. I gotta double check that. But when I go back inside the house, it's nighttime again, and I'm asking my mom, I said, hey mom, did you I told her that the sun was out, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. She said she knows. And I asked her, should I call my coworker Harry? And I told you guys that Harry is Jewish. And I'm thinking that this wasn't necessarily my mom. I'm thinking that this was a distraction or a deceiver, because they say that Satan would take the form of those you love to get you to drop your guard, right? And so when I asked her, should I call Harry, who's Jewish, I'm going to think that Harry is symbolic of reaching out to the Lord, right? And when I asked her, should I call, she tells me, no, don't wake him up. It's 3 in the morning. And not only that, I asked her what was she doing there, and she says nothing much. And I say, well, you're being, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not being upright. You're not being straight up with me, because you're here for a reason and you won't tell me why. And then when I ask, should I reach out to somebody who seems to be religiously symbolic, you tell me, no, don't reach out. And I listen to her, and then when I go back outside, the sun is not there anymore. Now it's dark, and there's a full moon, a twinkling star in the distance next to it, and a red planet looking evil. And that spirit from the first dream floated over to me and asked me, what do I think it is? And when I told him that I thought it might be Mars, he let me know that it wasn't, and that it was something terrible. And I noticed that he had my voice. So I'm trying to figure out if this was me talking to my subconscious or if this might have been a spiritual encounter. You know, everybody would like to have one, right? You know, you hear the stories about the prophets and how the Most High would send angels to deal with them, and there's been a few times I wished I could have had some kind of experience like that. But I know that something's going on because if you look up towards the celestial realm, you might notice new stars and new constellations. NASA has came out and admitted that there's a new constellation in the sky, and that you might not be what you were born, meaning as far as your zodiac is concerned. Like if you were born a Pisces, you might not be a Pisces anymore because now there's 13 zodiac signs. And I remember in the book of Luke, it says when they were talking about the Son of Man making his return, that there will be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. Well, there's something going on here. I know you guys notice halos around the sun, orbs, all different kind of colors up there, and I think that something of this magnitude is the work of the Creator, of the Almighty. Some things man just can't do. So when you see great things like these, it's something to think about. To each his own. To each his own. I'm not a religious guy per se, but I definitely believe in spirituality. And so as far as the second dream is concerned and the spirit pointing out that planet to me, I guess I would take that as more awareness or more awakening, that there are things that exist outside our realm or outside of our belief systems, and we really should think outside the box and broaden our horizons as far as our curiosity. And I think these dreams are helping to do that because they definitely stimulate your imagination, or they was definitely stimulating my imagination. And it's exciting. When you see things like this, it's scary. At the same time, it's amazing. It's joyous. It's different. You know, like I said, it works the imagination. So back to the point. The third dream. When I was laying in my bed and I looked out the window and I see that gold pyramid coming down out of the sky, and it was coming down on top of the sun, and the light from the pyramid, when it would hit the light from the sun, everything above and around that light was going to, it was being the sky was being darkened, everything's being faded to black. And I took that as a third signal that this is definitely the last days. Either that or I just have a very active imagination. But I still don't know what the pyramid represents. If anybody might have an idea, leave it in the comment section and we could build on that. The fourth dream I had, the one with my coworker Vinny, and how we were walking home, and I turned and looked over my left shoulder to see the sun, and I noticed that it flashed super bright, and I saw the number 1/2. I still don't know what the 1/2 means, but I took the brightness that I saw, that flash. Some people might even consider that a solar flare. They say that the sun is active, very active nowadays. And like I said, I'm not a scientist or anything. I can't tell you, what's going on with the sun and whatnot. But I take that as a solar flare. The fact that Vinny literally just vanished in the thin air after looking at the sun, I take that as maybe he got raptured. Who knows? Vinny's a good guy. He's a real good guy. I'll give you the shirt off his back. So if this was a rapture scene, I think he would be a good candidate. The next scene where I was up in low orbit, looking at what should have been the moon, um, that I think might be symbolic of the waters above, because instead of it being a moon, it was a submarine pod, and like I said, it only had room for one person, and it was definitely above the earth. And when you read the book of Genesis, it tells you that there are waters above the earth, uh, the waters of heaven, if that's how you want to say it. Uh, and I think that that pod is symbolic of a spiritual journey to the next realm, or where you might be headed once you leave this realm. Um, I think the Earth being sideways. I've been watching a lot of videos, geographic videos, and I've been seeing the carnage left behind after a lot of tornadoes and tsunamis and earthquakes, like the one in Rome that happened not too long ago. I mean, it decimated some city out there, out in Italy, and I feel bad for those people. I wish the best for them. Uh, the Earth being sideways, I took that as maybe a pole shift. I did some research and come to find out the North Pole, the magnetic pole, it's been moving 40 miles a year towards the east. I can't remember how many years exactly this has been going on for, but it's not where it used to be. And so I take that as a pole shift. And that might even explain the weather we've been having. I'm out here in New York, and these days you can walk around in damn near a t-shirt, and not have to worry about freezing. So I don't know, but uh, after I saw the Earth sideways, I was floating over the Atlantic Ocean, looking at New York City in the distance, and the fact that the water was rising, I can take that as maybe a polar ice melt. Right, the ice caps are freezing due to global warming, and so ocean levels will start to rise. I think that that definitely has something to do with it. Um, the next scene, I didn't write any of this down. Excuse me. The next scene, I was back up in low orbit, and this time I'm looking at the other side of the Earth, and the fact that everything looked bone dry, not like it's been scorched with fire or something, and not from war or anything like that. I think that's where the whole solar flare thing kicks in, and maybe ultraviolet rays and whatever you call it. Maybe it's cranking up over there. I don't know. Um, the the temple that I seen, the abandoned temple. Now this I think is symbolic as far as religion goes, because this temple was definitely ancient, and I'm confused as to whether it might have been a Roman temple or a Jewish temple. I'm not sure, but I knew it had a lot to do with religion, whatever the temple was, wherever it was. And I remember thinking of that Bible verse where Christ says that when he returns, there won't be one stone left on top of the other as far as some temple is concerned. You might know more about this than I do. I'm not a scholar when it comes to scripture, but I know a little. Um, the fact that with those 5 or 6 people who were scattered miles apart, I think that represents just whoever's going to be left, the handful of people that will be left, if the Bible comes true. I was reading the book of Isaiah earlier today, and it talks about how in the Most High, in His wrath, when He returns, there's going to be judgment, and we are going to be dealt with. The last scene in that vision, when I went up to low orbit one more time, and I wanted to go up to the realm above, the fact that I couldn't, that barrier to me represents the firmament that the Bible says is up there. A lot of people think that that's up for debate. I never personally been up there. Who knows what's really out there in space? But I think that was our limit as far as to mankind's ability to travel, and the fact that we had this technology that we were about to fire up and leave this place, and the Most High allowed the earth to take us out with tornadoes and hurricanes and stuff. I think that's symbolic of man trying to play God, trying to go where he is not supposed to be. This is our home, and you can't play God and think that you're going to just be able to get away with this. Technology is a good thing, but if you're trying to use it for the wrong reasons, come on, we got to get it together. Now, I don't know if the technology might be that CERN machine that is over in Switzerland, that particle collider. They said that they're using the particle collider to recreate the Big Bang. And that in itself sounds like a fool's errand. Why would you want to recreate the Big Bang knowing that you might blow up the planet or something, And I think that we were being stopped for our own good. I think that the wrong people with power could be a nightmare, and especially for everybody on the planet, if they're trying to play God with particles and trying to recreate a new universe all over again. Who knows what they're trying to do? But I think that we need to slow down. I think we need to get back to humanity and looking out for one another with love and compassion, and stop trying to solve all our problems with gadgets and technology and machinery. All we need is us. All we need is each other. And it's sad. It's like we lost our way. We lost our way. Like in the last part of that fourth dream that I had, when people were trying to find books or some kind of written history to tell us who we are, we lost our way. That's the symbolism I take from that. And I think humanity can pull through. I think it's enough of us who care about other people and their well-being. I think we need a lot of voice. We need to scream a little louder. There's enough evil. There's enough treachery already in the world. Hollywood is not helping. So it's going to be a fight between good and bad, and I think it's inevitable. I think the scriptures are true to an extent, as far as like what life will be like in the last days. And I just want to tell everybody to stay strong, stay focused, learn as much as you can. Try not to be a know-it-all. People who know it all, they can't learn anything. And just keep an open mind. You never know. You might even get a spirit dream one day. Who knows? I think we're all connected in one way or another. I think that, that's basically it. I'll get back to you guys. I got a few more topics I would like to talk about. I just wanted to get the dreams and visions out of the way, just to kind of get the brain cells pumping here, but I'll follow up soon with another video, and just let me know what you guys think. If you think I might be on to something, or if I'm way off base, let me know. If you have any dreams of your own, I would like to hear. I'm into this stuff. I'm excited. Just let me know. All right. Talk to you soon. Take care.